Hello, my name is Ulrich and I am a scientific illustrator and animator, or at least I'm trying to be. My curiosity and creativity co-evolve. One of my earliest memories was when I sorted out a packet of Smarties into individual colors and then put the different colors into cups of water just to see what would happen. I thought science was awesome, and I would have traded my left foot for a ride on the magic school bus. But if you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said that I wanted to be an artist. At 6, I studied my own hand while drawing a classmate. These days, curiosity and creativity are as natural to me as breathing. I can't seem to think straight without one or the other. My work was always around the school, and sometimes you could find it down at the local library or even an art gallery. I started to become fascinated by the weird and wonderful differences in human anatomy. Differences due to genetics and diseases. I soon made the connection between my doodles of organs and the diagrams in my 20-year-old science textbooks. But I didn't know what to call the person responsible for those diagrams, and neither did any of the adults in my life. For some reason, I never thought to Google scientific illustrator. Then I learned about genetic counselors. They're the people who help those with genetic conditions or who may pass on genetic conditions to their children. I thought that was awesome. Not only would I get to help people, but I get to continue learning about these fascinating inherited diseases. That's how art geek Laura ended up enrolling in SFU's biology program. That, and a fear of becoming a starving artist. For the first year, I was very dedicated to making sure that I continued to practice my art. But as time wore on, I had less and less time to paint and to draw if I wanted to keep up with even just passing my courses. My computer is filled with unfinished work, like this one, and this one. By my third year, I had stopped making art entirely. Existential crises were frequent, but I was too stubborn to give up on the degree that I had spent years of my life pursuing. I signed up for co-op, in hopes that getting relevant work experience would boost my odds of getting into the genetic counseling program at UBC. At my first meeting with the advisor, however, he told me straight up that I didn't stand a chance. I felt like an absolute failure. I felt like someone had ripped a hole out of my chest. But I had midterms next week and I couldn't give up. It was a few days later that I actually looked at how I was studying for my vertebrate lab exam. I was drawing the dogfish digestive system. And it was then that I realized I was good at something. And by then I knew what to look up on Google. For the last 2.5 years of my degree, I took courses that either involved a lot of drawing or were on subjects of things I could imagine needing to be drawn. Things like invertebrates and animal physiology and botany. I started my blog, Monsters and Molecules, to keep myself motivated in honing my chosen craft. I learned that there was a medical illustration program in Toronto that focused on digital work, and I convinced a professor to let me into his 3D animation course, which was normally closed to anyone outside of SFU's SciAp program. For the first time, I had classes that I enjoyed. I got my grad application together and submitted it last January, confident that I was going to at least get an interview. 2 weeks later, I got my letter of rejection. Shortly after, a medical illustrator who went through that same program contacted me through my blog. We met, talked, and she made me realize that my career choice wasn't dependent on me taking that program. Or any program, really. And it made me realize that maybe that wasn't the route I wanted to go after all. I went home and asked myself what really mattered to me. What did I love? Turns out, scientific illustration is just one facet of the things I enjoy. It's just one path towards my holy trinity of art, science, and sharing knowledge. Since my early teens, I have spent most of my summers either volunteering or working at kids' camps. I have taught everything from animal poetry to polymers, from downtown Vancouver to classrooms in northern BC. I even got the chance to volunteer in a high school for over 60 hours, and guess what? I loved every minute of it. So that's my plan now, for what it's worth. To become a teacher just like Miss Frizzle. My dream is to teach high school biology and art. How cool would it be to teach kids the basics of modeling and get them to produce their work on a 3D printer? Science really is just a story. From the romances of red-winged blackbirds to the cellular processes that go through your body every day. But most people don't hear the story because it's presented in blocks of text. I don't know how to do a block. And complicated terms. art is more approachable. A diagram, comic, or an animation can engage the audience long enough for them to hear the story. More and more people are realizing the importance of using art and design to explain science. The STEAM movement is gaining momentum. We don't necessarily need more scientists, but we do need more scientifically educated and curious people. People who can critically and knowledgeably discuss hot topics like conservation, GMOs, and vaccines, without just agreeing with the most persuasive or loudest argument. We need more science books for kids that weren't published in the 80s. I hope that through my combination of art and science, I can help make the latter more approachable to the public. So, that's my story. I look forward to hearing from you, and if you have any questions, you can either ask me or contact me through my blog.